Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols, and I've got Sergeant Dye with us today, and we're talking about safety, travel on the roadways. Give us some good pointers. We need them. This time of year can be very, very hectic.
Well, one of the first pointers I should probably give, and probably one of the most important, is slow down. Anytime there's inclement weather, we can't necessarily do the same speeds that we do on a regular basis when the roads are dry, so we want to slow down and be careful. If there's a snowplow, don't follow the snowplow too closely or get up beside the snowplow. Give them a little bit of room and kind of stay back away from them.
Okay, good to know. So we've all got that in our notes, because I know especially this time of year, I feel like we've got a lot of activities if you've got kids or just with church or with anything. So you're kind of rushing from place to place. So slowing down is a very good tip. What other things do we need to know with holiday travel, especially if you're going to visit loved ones out of town?
If you find yourself in some kind of an emergency, like your car's broken down, then stay in the car. Try to make the car as visible as possible. So sort of think ahead about that as well. Have some things with you you can put on the antenna or the windows or something to where you can be seen. Also, be mindful of carbon monoxide poisoning. Make sure that the exhaust pipe is clear, and that you also conserve. You don't run the car any more than necessary. That'll help alleviate that as well, but it also conserve gas if you're in a gasoline car or an electric car, to where you have that heat source for as long as you possibly need it until help can arrive. Tires, that's one of the biggest safety aspects as well. Air pressure this time of year, as the temperature fluctuates up and down. We have in this region, we'll have 50-degree days in the wintertime or 60-degree days in the wintertime, and then we'll have 5, 10, 15, 20-degree days. So the tire pressure is going to fluctuate up and down. Make sure you monitor that closely. Go by what the vehicle recommends, either in the owner's manual or on the placard inside the door. The tire pressure that's printed on the tire itself is the maximum air pressure that'll hold. So as you drive, that generates heat, generates more air pressure. If you put that pressure in the tire, you could make the tire explode. So make sure you use what's on the car itself and not what the tire manufacturer recommends. And check your spare tire. Make sure it's there and it's available. I've been on many assisting motorists that have broken down before, and you go to pull the spare tire out and it's as flat as the one we're trying to replace. Keep a check on that. Batteries, this time of year, this is bad for batteries to endure some pretty extreme conditions. So if you haven't replaced your battery in a long time, have it checked and look at potentially replacing it. Floor mats, a lot of people maybe don't think about that, but you may want to consider this time of year some thicker floor mats, something that won't jam up into the gas pedal or something, and increase the risk of a crash. Car seats, that's one of the things that we with children, we need to make sure that we're using those properly all the time. But a winter tip for a car seat is make sure you don't put your child in a car seat in a thick, heavy coat, because the forces of a crash, they can actually come out of the car seat. There's videos out there on the internet. You can look up child in a winter coat in a car seat and see some crash dummy demonstrations of what I'm talking about. Lights, any time of the year, of course, that we need to make sure that our lights are functioning properly. But in the wintertime, you may want to consider running your lights. Even if you don't need them to see, it helps other people see you through snow and sleet and fog in particular. And also, when your vehicle's covered in snow, make sure when you're clearing your windshield so you can see, you definitely need to do that. Make sure you have a good, open, visible windshield. But you also want to make sure that your lights are cleaned off as well, because if you go driving down the road and then your headlights are covered in snow, then they're not going to be as useful to you. And along that same line, your windshield wipers and windshield washer fluid. Windshield wipers will go bad even when you don't drive your car. So about every 6 months or so, I always recommend replacing those, have them checked. And you may go through 2 or 3 sets in the wintertime. That's not unusual. It's just the time of year that it's a lot harder on them. Your cooling system, which is your antifreeze in your car, that also provides your heat sources. It circulates through. Check and make sure that those levels are up to where they should be. And if you have to add fluid to that, if you're not sure what to do, take it somewhere to a professional and let them do it. If you do that on your own, make sure whatever you put in there meets what the owner's manual or the manufacturer recommends. Most modern vehicles have a what they call extended life coolant, which can last 10 years and over 100,000 miles. If you go into the store and you grab just the low mileage stuff or the old stuff off the shelf and you put that in there, the chain is only as good as its weakest link, so you just basically weakened your cool system.
Wow, lots of tips. Did everybody get all that? Oh my goodness. So those are some I didn't even think about, especially, some of the tires and just some of the basic things. There's just a lot to remember. And I think also this time of year, it's always just good to mention, a lot of times you do go to some of these holiday parties and New Year's and, people could be drinking, and you just want to be careful with your limit and not getting behind the wheel.
Yeah, and one piece of advice I always give whenever I have the opportunity to talk about driving is just watch out for the other person.
Yeah.
And just be careful.
Give yourself plenty of time.
Yeah, give yourself plenty of time. Carry a little extra patience with you in these type of conditions.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for all these great tips. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols, and I've got Kaylee Murphy with us from Frontier Health. And this time of year can be really tough for a lot of people and just lonely, and kind of bring up, especially if they've lost somebody, the holidays isn't always, the greatest time for people. So Kaylee's here to share with us some tips on coping and strategies of just getting through a time that can be really tough for a lot of people. It's hard to even know where to start. So managing your grief and some of the loneliness, what can people do out there where this is a hard time of year?
Yeah, I think Christmas and New Year's, just those holidays in general bring up a lot of memories for people with loved ones that may not be here anymore, or even, families that aren't together anymore or can't be together for whatever reason. There are lots of reasons that people would be lonely around the holidays, but honestly, it's really about finding what brings you joy during those times, even if it's something simple. And connecting with friends if you don't have family where you are, or, just being around those people who make you feel good. And it's about protecting your peace too. If you feel overwhelmed with all the events of the holidays, or it's just like, I can't do that. People should know that they can say no. They can, politely decline and say, I really need some time for me right now, but I hope you have a great time. There are definitely ways to do that and not make people upset or things like that. And as far as remembering loved ones around the holidays, I think it's great to take that time to remember them. Maybe it's an entire family has lost someone that year or in previous years. So maybe get out old pictures or watch old videos, tell stories about them and reminisce. Sometimes that can be really healing. So just things like that, I think, are helpful when people are feeling lonely or missing someone around the holidays.
Now, what about those families that have a little bit of a rift, but they're still getting together, and some ways to manage that?
Yes, well, we all know that, families aren't perfect. And so there is sometimes tension when it comes to everybody getting together in one space for the holidays. And a lot of times we can anticipate that. And so I always say planning is very helpful in those situations. So if people can know there's possibly going to be questions that come up that they don't necessarily want to get into at a holiday event, or there's going to be some type of tension or animosity there, they need to really plan for, okay, if this happens or when this happens, I know that's my boundary and I need to get out. And they also need to kind of have responses planned ahead of time. If an uncomfortable question comes up, they can say, I don't really want to discuss that today. This is about enjoying our family time. We can talk about that another time. Really just kind of working around ways to not have those uncomfortable conversations when we're trying to gather for the holidays. And also, again, if you feel like it's something you just can't manage for your own mental health, you can say no. I'm sorry I can't make it during that time, or I really just don't feel like I can do that this year, but thanks for the invite. There are ways to definitely protect your peace.
And maybe just also setting realistic expectations.
Absolutely, yes. I think we get really caught up in the hustle and bustle of, I have to do this and I have to buy that, and I have to cook this. There just is always so much going on. So really figuring out what brings you joy, again, not meeting everyone else's expectations. It's really about what brings you and the people closest to you joy, and it can be simple things. A lot of people are struggling right now. Things are so expensive, and there's all this pressure to provide the perfect holiday season, but it doesn't have to look like that. We look back and most of the time we remember memories with the people we love and not necessarily the gifts. I mean, I probably could tell you maybe one or two things in my entire life that stick out to me as far as gifts around Christmas, but I remember so many times getting together with everybody or funny stories from just being together. So really, I think, it's more about that than monetary things, and really just realizing, hey, I don't have time to make this dish for that event, but I can pick up drinks, or I can bring, plates and silverware, napkins, that kind of thing. So really just being conscientious about what you can do and what's realistic, and really protecting, again, your boundaries surrounding those things.
Well, and when grief is involved, sometimes the people in your community and circle don't always know how to handle it. So what do you recommend for that? Like if you have a good friend who maybe lost somebody, and you're like, well, should I mention it? Should I not? Sometimes it can be a little tricky.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And we don't always know how to handle those situations. But I think if you don't know what to say, it's enough to say, like, I know that this time of year might be hard for you, and I'm here for you. I mean, something as simple as that can go a long way, because then they know you're open to talking about it with them if they want to talk. But you're not saying, oh my gosh, this has to be so hard. Talk to me. Tell me about it. Some people respond well to that, but others don't. And so I think it's enough to just let people know, I'm here if you need anything, if you want to talk. And also, if people have lost someone really close to them who they normally would spend the holidays with, going to them and saying, hey, we're having a get together. Would you like to come or be a part of that? And trying to help them get back engaged with other people is really important. So honestly, it's different in every situation, but letting people know that you're there, you support them, that's the number one goal, I think.
And I think too, if you are lonely and you're not getting these invitations and calls, I don't be afraid to reach out to your community and kind of force yourself out there a little bit, because sometimes we don't always know.
Absolutely.
And we would love to have more people at our, family, like Christmas Eve gathering or whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are large holiday gatherings, there are small holiday gatherings, and it's about meeting people and connecting with people and saying, hey, what are you doing on Christmas Eve or on New Year's? I don't have any plans and was just checking in. And maybe they're busy and you try somebody else, or maybe it's getting involved in your community. A lot of people provide holiday meals, or there are community New Year's parties where you can go and meet people and do things, or give back to your community and volunteer. That's a great way to meet people. If folks are feeling lonely, but they really want to get out there, there are lots of opportunities, I think, to do that.
That's great. Anything I'm missing? Any last minute tips here?
I think, again, the takeaways would be protect your peace, keep good boundaries, really look at bringing joy to you, whatever that looks like. If it's staying home, if it's gathering with people, if it's taking extra care of yourself, everybody has different things they do for self-care. It could be, I need to take a long bath, or, I need to sleep a little longer. I need to go to the gym. Whatever that looks like, that's okay. And that's the message that I want people to take away is it's okay to do what you need to do to bring you happiness during the holidays.
Thank you, Kaylee, for being on. And don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols, and I've got Blaine Brown joining me today, and we are going to talk about everyone's favorite during the holiday season. That is if you are into basketball, which a lot of people are. And we've got the Holiday Classic coming up, and this year it's called the Classic. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right, tell us a little bit about this. He's the athletic director for the school, so he knows. We've got the right person up here.
So the Classic has been going on for 40 years. This is the 41st year that it's been going on. This is the first year. In previous years, it was the Arby's Classic, and this year they have transitioned to just the Classic at Tennessee High School, presented by Toyota Bristol. And there's, after 40 years of being under kind of one direction, this first year there's a lot of new and exciting things going on with it. We have a new food court, which has never been a part of the Classic before. So up on the stage in the gymnasium, we will have Subway, Moe's, Blended Peddler, the Cave, which will be up there serving food throughout the tournament, which they've never had. We also have brand new video boards. And with those video boards, the fan engagement package that we have in that will be similar than anything you would, or similar than what you would get at a Power 5 University of Tennessee basketball game.
Okay.
So we have a lot of fan engagement stuff going on, along with some halftime entertainment that I think it's going to be a good opportunity if you're looking for something to do to bring the whole family to spend the day there.
I love that. Now, how do you get tickets?
So you can actually get tickets at Tennessee High right now between 9 and 2. You can get them in the athletic office or the main office, or you can go to thsclassic.com and you can get tickets on there. You can either order them through there online at our GoFan site, which is our ticketing office or ticketing online office, or you can actually come day of if you want to, and you can buy tournament passes, which are $70 for 30 games. So
wow.
You're a little over $2 a game that you can go, or individual. There's 7 sessions and you can do each session for $15.
Okay, wow. That's a lot of games.
Yeah.
And it starts early.
Yeah, so the tournament starts the day after Christmas, December 26th. It starts at 1 o'clock and it'll go through from 1 o'clock, and the last game starts at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And then we continue on Friday and Saturday. On Friday is our dunk contest. So at 6 o'clock, the Addington Agency dunk contest, which is always kind of a fun event that people like to come out to. Then we have 2 different sessions on Saturday. We have a morning session, afternoon session. We are off on Sunday, so we do take a break, kind of catch our breath, and then we finish on Monday with 2 sessions, a morning and afternoon session, and then the championship session on Tuesday, New Year's Eve, to finish out the tournament.
And a lot of teams come out for this, kind of from all over. Tell us about that.
Sure. So we have teams from all over the country. We have 9 local teams, 9 teams that are from the area within 2 hours. We have 7 teams that are local. We have 2 from Knoxville for the 9. And then the other 9 teams are from all over the country. We have teams from California, Utah, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas. And currently there are 7 teams that are in this tournament that are ranked in the top 100 in the United States.
That's amazing. I know. I was going to say there have been like famous basketball players that have, been high schoolers playing right here in Bristol.
Yeah. For local people, if you're interested, there's a number of kids that are playing in this tournament that are getting recruited by the University of Tennessee. So if you want to come out and kind of push them along to be a Vol, you can come out and help them out with that. But there's a number of Power 5 guys that are either being recruited or already signed at top Division I schools that are going to be playing. So it's neat to see that kind of talent, but also our local teams get to compete against these kids.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm sure it's a huge undertaking.
It is
Are
a
you
lot.
worn out? I bet he's tired. It's a lot.
It is a lot. There's a lot of people involved. There are the other thing that makes this tournament great is it's a community event. And the number of volunteers that are involved. I believe at last count, we're close to almost 100 volunteers that it takes to put this on. So it's not just a one or a small group taking on something like this. It is a large number of people that make this happen, and a large number of people, the Bristol community, and that's why it's such a special event, because it's not just a basketball tournament, it's a community event.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for telling us all about this. We love the new name, and we love all the food court and some of the new fun things that are coming, and it's great basketball.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's I encourage people to come out. For 40 years they've got to experience it, and the product on the court is as good as ever, but all the stuff that comes with it, I think it'll be a refreshing something new for fans to come out and see.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the break. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Inside Bristol. I'm your host, Sheridan Nichols, and I've got Giovanna Glover with us from Parks and Rec, and we are talking about a couple of fun kid activities. We haven't talked about kid activities for a while. I feel like we get a lot of those during the summer, but we've got some coming up. So you definitely want to know about these. Why don't we start with the upcoming art class?
Absolutely. We are offering a 6-week-long youth art class with Katie Daniels, and that's for ages 9 through 13, and it starts on Thursday, January 16th, and it'll last for an hour from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., and this class will focus on different techniques and learning how to draw from observation. Registration ends on January 9th, and the fee is only $2. And we supply all needed materials, so we're excited about that. And we have to have 6 minimum to actually hold the class. So jump on.
So sign up.
Yeah, we want to encourage everybody to jump on to bristoltn.recdesk.com and sign up.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can they come by the rec center to sign up as
Absolutely.
well? Okay.
Absolutely.
So you can go online. And what are the ages?
9 through 13.
9 through 13.
Yes.
So we need 6 9 through 13s, only $2, all the art supplies in 6
That's
weeks.
right.
That's a nice long
6 weeks.
You will definitely learn some really great
Absolutely.
technique and kind of nice, almost like one-on-one individual attention.
Absolutely.
Which is fantastic. So it's
Yeah.
and it's just great for the mind. So, well, that's
Yeah.
good. Now, while you're working on your drawing skills, if you also want to get a little bit more fit, there's a physical education opportunity too for kids.
Yes, absolutely. So it's another 6-week-long clinic, and it is our youth PE class. It's run by our very own Brody Ratliff. He's awesome, and he's young too. So, and this is also for ages 9 through 13.
Okay.
Participants will be led in exercises and physical activities that'll help them build strength, endurance, and flexibility. And these classes start on January 7th, and they'll be meeting weekly on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 5:30 p.m.
Okay, and is that an hour or 30 minutes an hour?
Yes.
And I'm sure they'll just touch on all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Physical fitness
Yeah, so
stuff. Maybe a
Brody-
little jump rope in there.
Yeah, so Brody's pretty well versed in physical activity, and if people are familiar with Becky, then he's very close and works close with her. So if you know her, then you know that they've got physical activity down pat. So
And register online or
Yes.
come by the Slater
Yes.
Center and you can register
Absolutely.
then too. So lots.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun. And this is a great new addition to all of the other amazing things that go on at the Slater Center. So
Yes.
something nice for kids to enjoy.
Yes, we're excited to be extending more into youth programming.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.